I think we can begin whenever you're ready, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you. I will wait just a few minutes, but
Okay, I was just letting you know we're ready on my side.
okay. Thanks. And Joe, we'll put up the, if you want to just go ahead and put up the participation screen right now, we can start with that. All right, so let's see how many people we have here. All right, if people would go ahead and turn their video on, we'll get started. I would like to call to order, thanks guys. I would like to call to order the Parks and Conservation meeting of May 19th. And we are still meeting remotely, as I think everyone's probably aware of. And if you are joining us, you can join us by going to the city website and clicking through the Parks and Conservation agenda and clicking on join the meeting. You could also leave council a voicemail. It will go to all council. It's 406-552-6012. Or leave us an email that will go to all of us. That is at council@ci.missoula.mt.us. If you are joining us, I will call for public comment on items related to Parks and Conservation that are not on the agenda, and then as well as calling for public comment on items on today's agenda. So I will first start out with roll. Anderson.
Present.
Becerra.
Present.
Contos.
Here.
Harp.
Present.
Hess.
Present.
Jones. Here. I think Gwen has not joined us. Merritt.
Present.
Ramos.
Present.
And Cheryl's here. Vasika.
Present.
Von Lossberg.
Here.
And West. Let's see if West is here. Okay, I don't see West either. So we have 10 members present. We are missing Gwen Jones and Heidi West, but we'll keep an eye out for them if they join us just in a few minutes. And we have minutes from May 12th to approve. Are there any changes to those minutes? I do not see any changes. And so those will stand approved. I will go to the public to take public comment. Please keep your comments to a total of 3 minutes. This is the Parks and Conservation Committee, so I would like the comments to be related to Parks and Conservation items, please. And let's see, we have one member attending with their hand up, and let me figure out if I can. Jolanda, I don't have the ability to unmute the attendee. I'm not sure if you need to, I think you need to make me a co-host, or you could do that as well. So, oh, okay, got it. Thanks. I can see that option now. Thank you. Mats, go ahead. Mats Larson.
Yeah, this is Matt Larson, Ward 3. I'm just calling in again to request the capital assets list for the city, which includes assets that are held under the Parks Department. It's literally been months. In the process, I've been banned from contacting city council and any city department, calling any city, anything, which is utterly ridiculous in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions too. And it's just part and parcel for the type of delaying and hand sitting that we're used to, speaking into the void known as city council. I heard about some great interactions with you guys this Monday and a bunch of people who were evicted. And that I just wanted to congratulate you guys on that, because they'll probably be living in these parks now that you're going to deal with today. And also congratulate this money grab that's on the agenda for speaker permits, which is utterly superfluous and that we've talked about for weeks, and of which there is no consequence for or fine amount even listed for this. The amount of resources that we've wasted on this one subject, like literally weeks of discussion of it, is so egregiously upsetting to the entire community that I just don't know how it can be expressed adequately. It's ridiculous. Like, what are you guys doing? Do you have anything to do? This money grab is nothing but that. And it's also basically going to increase police interactions, where let's just say the police are kind of having a bad track record. I'd love to tell you about my personal interaction and my friend's interaction with the Missoula Mental Health Crisis Unit, or as I like to call them, MPD's cleanup unit, that I had 2 days ago. But I can't unless I have to take the time to handwrite you all a letter. So please deliver the capital assets list and have fun with this agenda today and your money grab. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. And we have one item on the agenda today. We have Shirley Kinsey from the Parks Department. We are looking at the ordinance amending the Title 12 pertaining to sound amplification in community parks. I just want to first say that I appreciate everyone's work on this. I appreciate my colleague, Ms. Merritt, and her help getting kind of cleaning this up. And I think she brought up some good points. I really appreciate Shirley looking at this and working on it over the weeks. And also the Montana Area Musicians Association and their board. They have, we've worked with them, and I think that we've come to a really great final product, and I'm hoping it's a final product at least. So Shirley, you want to take this and talk about the changes we've made since the last time
Sure.
we saw that?
I'm going to share my screen here. Did that do it?
It did. If you can make it a little bigger, we can see the sides of your, we can see
I
your
gotta
icon.
figure that out, how to.
I don't always know how to do that, but this, I think we can read it there. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So, so essentially with Julie's help and Susan and Marty gave it the big thumbs up. Number 29, amplified sound is prohibited in parks with the exception below and further defined in Exhibit C. So the whole ordinance basically points to Exhibit C. We define small impromptu gatherings of 6 or fewer park users amplifying sound are required to adhere to the restrictions in Exhibit C, and the Type 2 community parks and the Type 3 neighborhood parks. And then B, the fee-based amplified sound permit is required for large events of 7 or more park users set forth in Exhibit C, again, under Type 1 and Type 4 neighborhood parks. And then C, amplified sound is defined as any powered sound device with a volume control. I went back through the Exhibit C and defined the large groups as 7 or more people. So that is cleaned up as well.
Thanks. I think those are good changes. I'm not totally sure because we've seen this. Do we need, Brian, I need some help on where we are as far as what we do with this right now. And I'll take council questions as well. Hold on just a second. I have someone. Julie, why don't you go ahead?
Thanks, Amber. So if I have this correctly, when we sent this back to committee, so the public was anticipating that there would be changes to the language that was presented when we opened the public hearing on this. So we're continuing the public hearing, if I've got this right, so that this would just be on the agenda as an item for final consideration. Do I have that correct, Brian?
Brian, go ahead. Yeah, Brian, go ahead. I see your hands raised.
I don't. Well, I was going to say no, but then I wasn't thinking about the process we instituted during the pandemic for the final consideration. We did not get to final consideration, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Right. So I was going to say normally sending back to committee, we'd bring it back out under committee reports. But in this case, I think it would move to final consideration, which also seems to be the most consistent with what public process would be expected.
Okay,
So that's a
thank
long
you.
way of saying I think you got it right, Julie.
Okay, so we do not need a motion on this, but I would like to.
I do have one other point of clarification, if I may.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we have any additional questions or comments, now is the time to queue up for those. And you don't need to raise your hand. Just go ahead, Julie.
Okay, so Shirley, could you scroll down just a smidge so we can see all of that item B? So there was language in this item B that's added, although unfortunately on this copy that you're showing us right here, that it's not in red text. So in item B, we're at, what I'm proposing is that we add the language that says, or cease prohibited activities. That phrase should be in red because that would be added language. And then there actually was a change in the last sentence, the may be subject to penalties. It actually currently says will be subject to penalties, and the proposal here is to change that. So if we could just get that formatting fixed so that it's clear, the parts of that we're proposing to change.
Okay, so the or cease prohibited activity, and then I'm reading under A and may be subject. So that would just need to be in red, correct?
It should show the word will being crossed out and replaced with the word may.
So it needs to be in track change.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, I can do that.
Just so that that's clear that we're changing that will to a may. And that's just kind of critical for the enforcement of that. And I would like, if I could briefly, Amber, speak to the enforcement section.
Yep.
Since that was brought up. The enforcement part in this statute is in section 12.40.080, enforcement and penalties. There's a whole section there that describes what the enforcement and penalties are. So for anyone who would like to look it up, it's ordinance 12.40.080, enforcement and penalties.
Great, thanks, Julie. Are there any other council questions or comments at this time? Okay, seeing none, we don't need a motion. I will go to public comment. This is, oh, Brian, go.
I'm just trying to make sure I see Mr. Nugent on. Jim, I'm wondering, do we need a motion to bring this back out? Or do you have any advice process-wise?
I think the most important part is to be sure you call for public comment on Monday night. This comes back under final consideration as soon as the committee releases it for that purpose. But because of the substantive changes, it'd be real important for the public record to establish that you did continue the public hearing and that you did call for public comment. But I don't think anything else is out of order.
Thanks.
Great, thanks, Jim. And I will, unless there are any other council comments or questions, I will take public comment on this agenda item. Again, the time limit for public comment is 3 minutes. And Mr. Larson.
Yeah, this is Matt Larson, Ward 3. This is all superfluous. This is all dealt with in the sound ordinance. There has been no mention of political protected speech, political protest, and religious protected like practice in regards to this sound ordinance or this superfluous sound ordinance under the Parks Department parks regulations. So I just don't get what it is if it's not anything but what it appears to be, which is an ivory tower kind of cash grab here. And I think that it is definitely wrapped so that the police can interact and intervene in peaceful protests, otherwise peaceful protests, to cause contact. And the fines aren't clearly defined. The fact that you guys are adding may into the wording of the consequences of this action is just indicative of just how unneeded this is. Like, this isn't even a problem right now. But you guys are just like, you're essentially creating problems, and you're going to create a whole system with this permitting that essentially eats more money through the courts and through court appearances for any sort of violations, failure to appears, and unneeded police contacts when we're, as a community, in our second year now of telling you not to involve the police in these types of contacts. These are nonviolent things. Like, these, it's just totally superfluous, totally embarrassing to have spent this much time on this thing too. I'm just embarrassed for you guys. So keep it going, I guess. But next year, I think there's a reckoning that will be told at the voting booth. So have a great day.
Okay, thank you. And Shirley, you can stop sharing your screen, I think. And we don't need to take a vote, so this will go on the committee. This is going for public. Jeez, anyway, this will be on final consideration on Monday night then. And that is all we have for Parks and Conservation. So again, Shirley, thank you. And thank you to Julie, and we will be adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.